Chapter 2. 2 days into their return trek through outer wilder Bestia, King Nolan and his men urged their spirit Danes at a gallop along a narrow mountain ridge. Four-legged creatures with bodies that looked vaguely bulldogish from the front and tapered to a thin, tailless rear end, the spirit Danes had flat faces with slow, blinking eyes, fist-sized nostrils, and a quizzical mouth. They were not the fastest means of getting around Wonderland, but they proved the most efficient mode of travel to and from Borderland, being the only creatures capable of carrying a man, as well as gifts of wine and crystal, while making decent time over the irregular terrain of outer wilder Bestia. This had not been a journey King Nolan desired to make. He had done it for the good of the queendom, a last-minute negotiation with King Arch of Borderland to establish an alliance between their two nations against Red. It was, of course, Genevieve's rightful place to conduct all negotiations, but she had thought it prudent to send her husband in her stead. Borderland was a kingdom. King Arch didn't believe in queendoms. The seat of power, he often proclaimed, was no place for a female. King Arch greeted Nolan as if the mere sight of him brought on fatigue. "Why should I form an alliance?" he asked, after Nolan had just explained the reasons. "Red doesn't dare attack Borderland." "Because we're neighbors, Arch. If Red does take control of Wonderland, she's likely to grow more ambitious and look to Borderland as her next target. Oh, I think I can defend myself against any female, even without an alliance." Arch snapped his fingers, and a shapely courtesan emerged from behind a glittering curtain to massage his shoulders. "Besides, it rather goes against my principles, partnering with a queendom. I don't want the peculiar ways of your nation influencing Borderland's female population. The last thing I need is the seeds of some so-called greater purpose being planted in their feminine heads, as if they should do more with their lives than is required for their marital administrations. I'd be more concerned about the influence of a Red-controlled Wonderland would have on your entire population," said King Nolan. King Arch made a sound deep within his throat, a doubtful grunt. "Frankly, Nolan, I don't have the highest regard for you letting yourself be bossed around by your wife as you do." King Nolan did not feel, nor had he ever felt, bossed around by Genevieve. He loved his wife in part because of her strength, her estimable handling of the very responsibilities that Arch thought should fall only on a man's shoulders. To Nolan, nothing could compare to the love of his kind, strong-willed queen. "So," Arch said, "you'd receive military support to help defend against your enemies, and what would I get? What benefits would the people of Borderland be able to expect as a result of this proposed nation coupling? I am prepared to offer you crystal mining rights within our borders, twice yearly payments of 1,000,000 howlite gemstones, and the use of our military should the need for it ever arise." King Arch stood. The meeting was over. "I'll consider it and send word of my decision in the next week or so." Eager to arrive back at Hart Palace in time for Alice's birthday, Nolan made a race of the journey with his men, riding at full speed without stopping for rest or food. They were still a half-day's ride away. The mountain ridge was far behind them now, and they galloped across a dusty plain. At the crest of a hill, with Hart Palace visible on the horizon, Nolan reined in his spirit Dane. A gust of wind carried with it, or so he imagined, for he was quite a distance from the palace, the sounds of revelry, music, and laughter. His men came to a stop beside him. "What is it, my lord?" "She'll never forgive me for missing the party." "I think the queen would forgive you anything, my lord." "Not the queen, the princess." "Oh, with her you'll have trouble." The men laughed. With Alice, King Nolan would indeed have trouble, but it would be a pleasant sort of trouble. Even in her pouts, he thought his daughter a delightful creature. "Hi-yah!" With a refreshed sense of urgency, the king prodded his spirit Dane onward toward home and family.